Welcome to Convicted Patriot Broadcast, your source for common sense conservative values. The day is February 22nd, 2026, and I am but your humble messenger. My name is Christian Russ, and man, oh man, shouldn't my reputation be preceding me at this point? You see, I find it quite terrifying that the majority of you are acting like this whole past month is the first time you've ever heard of any heinous crime. I mean, you watch movies, you play video games, probably on a daily basis. And that constant, consistent stream of atrocious shit that you put in your head, and the fact that these things really happen in real life, are that shocking to you? I mean, if anything, I figured we would be desensitized to most of the acts of vile human nature. But I suppose when it comes to harming a child, most of us would never let that go. And we mustn't. But honestly, I can tell you, along with anyone else that's ever hung out with me either past the age of 16, that I've been saying these exact things. I can go in depth with you about the Rothschilds and how Mayor Bauer changed his last name to Rothschild due to the red shield outside of his shop, and how when he was somehow chosen by the Oppenheimer family to be elevated into a position where he would soon control all of Europe. He had 5 sons, and he brought them all up in banking and accounting, and eventually opening a central banking system in 5 separate European countries and having each son run each one. He was famous, actually, for saying, "Give me a nation's money supply, and I care not who makes its laws." These people are tied to Epstein, and damn near every other part of Western civilization has been infiltrated by their clutches and those which they work with. You see, chill out for a second and hear me, because it's real. There are 13 families, and all of this is historically accurate. You can look it up and read about it yourself. After those families, it goes to the Council of 300. Look that up, the Council of 300, which is the next 300 families that are prominent in pulling strings. And then you could connect all that to the Club of Rome. Look up the Club of Rome. See, there's so much, this rabbit hole goes so deep that it's going to take you forever to catch up. Most of us have been falling down this since Alice. You know, we've been in this rabbit hole since the 90s, or at least my mother started in the 90s and relayed most of this information to me at an early age. But if you have no idea about anything that I just brought up, please, on your own time, go digging into all of it. All of this will start to make so much more sense to you, but if you knew the historical blueprint for the upcoming New World Order that these elites are going to try to cram in on us with what seems to be an original deadline of 2030 with the UN's Agenda 2030, but I doubt that that will stop them if they can't make it happen by that time. You see, the Old system must die before a new one can come into play, and trust me, by the time they try to push the new system on us, most people will be so desperate for some sort of relief that they'll take whatever they can get. Not everyone is built to live off the grid, or honestly even to live without electricity. It would be a mind-blowing number, honestly, if you could actually see it. The percentage of the population of the United States alone estimated to die simply from a loss of electricity within 60 days is over 90%. Plug that into any simulation, ask any AI. It'll tell you hospitals are going to go dark, ventilators are going to stop, dialysis machines are going to quit, water treatment systems are going to fail, sewage is going to back up, no refrigeration, so the food's going to spoil in every kitchen in America within days. Trucks can't pump diesel to bring you supplies, much less gasoline. Pharmacies can't fill scripts. People start dying from dehydration, infection, heart attacks, whatever. You get the point. It doesn't help also that our country built its electrical grid in the 60s and 70s, and not much has really been done about that as far as an overall upgrade. It could easily be destroyed is my point, and you can bet your ass that with a grid that is that old, it's been mapped out for decades by our enemies, foreign, domestic. They know exactly what to hit and where. So if you could imagine a time where it would be a complete chaos and confusion, then get that in your head. And then the U.S. government was going to step in with a solution. That's right, it's going to be a new system, one that runs off of, let's say, facial recognition, for your benefit, of course. Wouldn't want to be put in the wrong place at the wrong time, right? And of course, your phone Your cell phone that you carry with you all day has long linked your face to your name and to your social security number and to your bank account. System's probably going to have digital currency in it too. See, there's something called Palantir. I don't know what most of you have heard. I was talking to Mr. Palik Gardner about this recently. He was actually about to invest in this company. Well, Palantir is a tech company that has the ability to bring just about all of this to fruition. And they actually just signed a pretty large multi-million-dollar contract with the United States military. Mind you, that this company was co-founded by Peter Thiel back in 2003. And yes, he's still the chairman of the board. Peter Thiel. The same Peter Thiel that is a transhumanist and believes humans need to evolve and merge into tech. Stop being parasitic. Another way of saying that humans' time is up, and it would be best for all the planet if AI and cyborg-like beings took it from here. The same Peter Thiel that is into parabiosis, of like merging old and young animals together so they share the same circulatory system and organs. He's had infatuation with that. The same Peter Thiel that was mentioned in the recent Epstein file dump over 2,224 times and has over 588 shared connections with the people in those files. Those same groups of people. A lot of correspondence directly between him and Epstein. And that brings me to my last point about this man. Yes, that is the same Peter Thiel that backed Senator J.D. Vance in his entire Senate campaign. And I'm sure, being the multi-billionaire that he is, he had something to do behind the scenes with maybe J.D.'s ascension. Maybe he's still ascending. See, it's all connected. Right and left. It's an illusion. It's really top versus bottom. And this is, quite frankly, a war for our very souls. And maybe that's why all this is finally being allowed to come out. I mean, it's so the old system can actually burn down. If you notice, the people that are going down with this one are all of the same generations and time periods. These were the heavy hitters back in the 70s, 80s, 90s. Their time is up, and they are no longer producing for the evil that beckons them to. They're only being fed to the masses, not only to pacify us to a degree, but because new people are going to fill those vacuums, and you don't need to be paying attention to the who's who. Let me bring up a few points I've been wanting to speak about the last few days. I know this is late to the punch, but hear me out. This whole Bondi disposition, that was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. She was absolutely abhorrent, almost unintelligible. Not her words, but why she was saying them and where she was putting them in a sentence. So, like, most people were so confused by her antics, especially those about the stock market variety, but not me. See, let me explain. Her random comments, or what seemed to be random, were bringing our attention to the current so-called booming stock market. The Dow specifically being at 50K, I think she said, and maybe the S&P 500 was at 70. See, this statement wasn't random, ladies and gentlemen. This was a way of telling you, look, you keep pushing this shit out into the light, and I hope you know that your 401k and retirement and stock portfolio, they're all good as gone. That's how powerful these people are that have those black little squares over their names in the files. Yeah, they're that powerful. If they were exposed, the stock market would collapse, along with everyone on Wall Street. My response to that is, burn it all down. I don't care if it brings a recession. I'll take hard times to protect children and to expose the sickness within humanity that has long since needed a fucking cleansing. A purging of. And to the Democrats that are on about this right now, that just hear me out. I hope you really are angry. And it's not just to do with something because of Trump. No, I'm not saying that in jest. I'm serious. Because you do realize that it was your leftist woke progressive agenda and policies that protected these pedos from even being called pedos. You guys manufactured a nicer word for them and since started addressing them by it to be politically correct. You fucking pussies called them MAPs. Minor attracted peoples. Let's also not forget where wokeism still thrives in places like California, the law has been changed from a felony to a misdemeanor to have sex with 16-year-olds. So like I said, I really hope that you're as outraged as you seem to be outside of your mental disability that Trump has caused you. And that doesn't excuse you pieces of shit on the right either. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Stop laughing and nodding your head. Unredact the names, man. Expose all of this and let's get the system purged of the filth that has rotted our very country to the core. And Republicans, while you're at it, you spineless cowards, kill the filibuster, pass the SAVE Act that the majority of both parties and independents such as myself want. Let's try that. You know, the majority of the entire American population wants this. Yeah, you guys can't find the spine to just push it through. It's like you people don't even see the rot. It's become so normal. Let me give you an example. Did you know that Netflix is currently trying to buy Warner Brothers and HBO Max, and that's a problem? Why? Well, recently, I've been playing with a few AI programs, and trust me, for the most part, I'm just as lost as most of you. It's kind of scary. But what I will say is I did run an AI program on the content of a Netflix catalog, for Netflix Kids, that is. Twice, it has showed me on two different programs, that is, that approximately 42% of the content on Netflix Kids has LGBTQ themes, morals, or characters. It's funny they even have a kids section, but they hide all that. Example? Okay, like in 2020 with that show Cuties. Yeah, that was about 11, 12, 13-year-old girl that was obsessed with twerking and was like, that's a family show? The kid? Anyway, it was listed in this show's ratings, which was on Netflix Kids, as having sexually explicit scenes. To be more exact, there was a scene where an 11-year-old's breast was fully exposed, and in the description it says, this can be commonly referred to as definitive pedophilia and may be offensive to some viewers. No shit. You think? My point is, from Hollywood to Disney to politics to the music industry and all the way to the bloodlines in Europe, this sickness has taken root and brainwashed so many to the point where they have been sleepwalking through life, just doing your ordinary day-to-day and not thinking twice about anything else. Meanwhile, in the middle of nowhere right now, there's a satanic ritual going on and more people lined up to be hurt through various ways, whether that be physically, or spiritually. And our children, ladies and gentlemen, I hope we can agree, regardless of our politics, that our children are our most innocent and precious assets, and I don't care what it takes. This system needs to come burning the fuck down. You still have Christians out there right now that have no idea that nowhere, not once, in the Bible does it ever relate Jews or King David to a six-pointed star. Or any star, actually, of that matter. The star is actually mentioned in Acts chapter 7, verse 45, and is referred to as the Star of Rephan, after they were said to have taken up the tabernacle of who? Moloch. Moloch, Molech, Baal, all the same horned deity from Babylon that requires a sacrifice of children to fulfill its blessings. So, to this day, the nation of Israel is flying the symbol of a demonic entity on its flag, and Epstein was clearly a Mossad agent, and anyone that wants to argue this just needs to sit down. Just sit down. There's too much going on with him and Mossad and operatives and prime ministers and Zionists like Wexner and the Rothschilds, who, I forgot to add this earlier, who, the Rothschilds that is, inherited the land of Israel, well, Palestine back then, in 1913 from the King of England via the Balfour Declaration. Shout out to Robert Haas. Oh, let's not forget Peggy Segal, the Jewess of Hollywood, that famously said she had a Rolodex of over 30,000 of the most prominent people in Hollywood. She had that, not to mention the number of times that the elites referred to us as goyim, or cattle. We are beneath them, and please, 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 do not get this mixed up with the Jews of the world. This is not a shot at Jews in general. The government of Israel is absolutely in no way a representation of the Jewish faith. They are simply, for the most part, secular men that hide behind Zionism or Judaism, and the first time you point out where they're doing something that's some bullshit, they call you an anti-Semite or plead that you remember the Holocaust. Meanwhile, they just admitted to killing 90,000 civilians in Gaza. Wake up, people. There are twice as many Christians in Qatar than there are in Israel because they feel more at peace and safer in Qatar, a Muslim nation. And the infatuation with American Christians in Israel also blows my mind because there is no such thing as Judeo-Christian anything. They do not see Jesus as God. They do not believe in the Trinity. Israel has killed more Americans and taken more American money from us than Iran could ever even fathom to do. Over 90% of our Congress gets donations from AIPAC, and they are the only foreign lobby that doesn't have to register as a foreign lobby. The last president that pushed that issue was JFK, and we know how that ended. And then you have the flip side, which is politicians like Randy Fine that like to joke about dead Palestinian babies and was also just recently caught voting on a bill for other congressmen that would outlaw Israeli boycotts. Their seats were empty. Go look it up. Randy Fine votes for other Congress members. He literally reaches over their desk and hits their answer for them. He walks by about 3 or 4 desks and just clicks their answer for them while they're not at their desk to vote against the bill, of course. It's insane. The truth is too much for many of you, and I understand that. If you didn't believe all of us, you called us conspiracy theorists when we were showing you timelines and whistleblower testimonies and pictures and videos and everything else under the sun that we had. And now, some emails drop and you act like you've never even heard these stories before. See, I'm beyond vindicated. As I told you, a matter of fact, that old friend that I told you guys about a few months ago that I had to cut off because she is completely and totally went off the woke reservation. Well, she literally told me that I'm just a conspiracy theorist and I sound ridiculous. Well, so far, if you've listened to me from my first episode back in September, you know I'm pretty much undefeated with these theories, and that includes me telling you months and months ago that that 12-day war was a test run and we would soon be in full war with Iran. And then about a month ago, I posted it again that we were going to a war with Iran, and so many people were like, oh, you're crazy, there's no way, blah, 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 blah. Listen, here we are. Look at the military buildup and the troops being pulled from Syria and the naval fleet we seem to have assembled right outside. Israel wants regime change, and they're going to get it. I hope this country can heal from this. But first, we've got to do what we have to do to make sure this never happens again. This isn't about left or right. Once again, if that's where your brain is, then you're never going to wake up. We have so much going on in this crazy world right now. Seriously, guys. All that being said, we need to hug our children a little tighter. Tell them we love them a little bit more often. And pray to God to protect them and ourselves from everything that we have coming our way. God bless you all, and God bless America.